Just make sure we all get set up. Cool, awesome. All right. Hi everyone. Hi Instagram.
Hey everybody.
Hi Facebook. This is Antonio.
Hey guys.
And Manmeet Chowdhry from Optimum Fulfilled Solutions. So glad you can all join us here. Now, the reason we're doing this very special live, we have one more special guest with us. Let's introduce him. This is Henry.
This is Henry.
Who's really taken, I've taken a huge liking to him, and made my trip here in Miami so cool. And he's joining us, so if you'd like to ask him any questions, I'm sure he will answer them for you.
I know, he's giving me kisses.
All right, okay. Great. Okay, so the purpose of this Facebook and Instagram Live is really to, it's a tribute to World Transformation Day. As I said in my video, World Transformation Day, a very good friend of mine, Harinder Paul, a co-founder of this day, started this last year. And we wanted to get involved this year, and I am traveling, but I'm with Antonio. So Antonio lives in Miami, and I'm visiting. And I had a chat with him and told him what how inspiring this day was going to be, and he kindly agreed to get involved with me. And so that's why we're doing this live. I just want to tell you what we're going to be doing for this live. We're going to basically be sharing a little bit about our own stories on how we've done our own transformations and how we're also helping other people with theirs. And then Antonio is amazing at taking and leading through a meditation. So I finally asked him if he would do that, and he really agreed, which is nice. So we're going to do that towards the end of the live, just to finish it off on a pretty cool note. So if you want to type any questions you have that you'd like to ask us while we're sharing things, but we're really just going to have a conversation and get you guys involved as much as we can. Yeah, anything you wanted to add?
No, I'm very excited to be here with you guys. It's awesome to be able to honor and celebrate World Transformation Day. We're going to be talking a little bit about what transformation is, just as a natural process of the universe, and then also a personal transformation, how we can empower ourselves to move along our own personal transformation in our lives. Yeah. So, yeah.
Excellent. I'm just trying to sort out some stuff here while we have this chat too. So technology and everything, I think I'm just getting used to that. We've got a phone set up for Instagram, and we've got this laptop set up here for Facebook Live. So it's my first time doing all this kind of thing.
Multitasking.
So, multitasking. By the way, I'm better at that.
Yeah, you're much better than me.
Excellent. Okay, so all right. So let's start with you, Antonio.
Yeah.
What was it that you think has been the biggest transformation in your life that has got you to want to be doing this for other people?
Right. So I just briefly, a little bit of my history. So I had a lot of challenging situations that I perceived were challenging in my life. And I got to the point where I wasn't able to manage the challenges in my life in my early 30s. And I got to the point where I hit rock bottom and I wanted to commit suicide. And a friend of mine helped me out of that situation and started psychotherapy. And that helped me a lot to be able to start to open my mind and increase my sphere of awareness.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then through the stepwise process of maturing and growing and transforming myself, then I entered into meditation. And I began to study Buddhism and meditation. And that helped me tremendously as well to continue to expand my sphere of awareness and understanding of myself. And as I grew to understand myself, more and more I was able to feel empowered in my life and actually catalyze change in the lives of people, where people were actually seeking me out to be able to help them with their own challenging situations. And eventually I came to the Demartini world as well, the Demartini method, and I have learned different methodologies to be able to even move myself even further along, and actually govern myself, to be able to learn how to manage myself so that I'm managing myself from the inside and not having the universe manage me from the outside.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you. How about you, Manmeet?
Right. So, well, we've got a pretty similar story, I think.
Yeah.
So I share this with quite a few people, but about 11 years ago, I actually was into personal development from like 2005, and I'd done a lot of courses. Many people have heard of. I did Landmark Forum up to quite an advanced level. I did Anthony Robbins. I spent some time with Bob Proctor, and I was I think all these modalities and everything has its place at a certain time in your life. And I think sometimes we tend to outgrow them, or we still feel like we want to know more. And I was basically trying to be positive all the time, and it just wasn't working for me. I was thinking, here I am, I'm trying to be positive, and all these kind of perceived negative things were happening to me. And I just felt like everyone had an amazing life but me. And I felt like God had, dealt me these wrong cards that I shouldn't have, and I'm the one that's kind of doomed. And what I found is, I had some challenges going on. There were some health challenges, some family challenges, some work challenges at the time as well, and I just didn't know how to manage them. And when I was at that point, I had also, gone into. I hadn't been diagnosed by a doctor per se, but I was pretty much depressed. And as we know, the level of depression can get you to the same point as you were. And, wanting to end my life had definitely been one of the options. And I actually thought it was the better option. I thought, it's better if I just exit the planet. It'll be better for me. It'll be better for everybody around me. And it wasn't until a very good friend of mine, Dizzy Taylor, said to me, you need to go and hear this Dr. John Demartini speak. And I was like, at the time, I was like, oh, this is just going to be another, personal development guru who's going to tell me to think positive. I'm not going. And he managed to speak in my priorities, and he actually said to me, he goes, just give this one last try. And that was the calling for me, that I thought, right, I'm going to give it one last try. Let me go. And that night, I heard Dr. John Demartini speak, and I share this with a lot of my students, my clients. Is I believe that that night he saved my life. He birthed me again. What he shared from his 46 years of research from all cross-disciplinary that he was teaching that night really made me want to explore more. And that's how I came across him 11 years ago. And then obviously going to courses around the world. I met you.
And it's difficult to have that experience and not want to share it with others, right?
Absolutely. I think, like you said, you hit rock bottom. And, I think when people are going through this, trying to live a positive life, and they just can't seem to, fulfill that, you want to share with them the truth, and you want to let them know that, look, you don't have to try and obtain something that's not obtainable. It's about embracing both sides and, living the fulfilled life by actually having the both positive and negative side, which is, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because it's true. Life is balanced, but our perception unbalances nature and the universe. And so we perceive things to be one-sided. We are all excited about things being great one way, but we don't see the downsides of the situation, or we end up in a situation where we only see the downsides and we don't see the upsides to it. Yeah. And so in this way, we're constantly vacillating, flagellating from one to the other, up and down. And actually, in Buddhism, we call that samsara, just all the while, just going back and forth. I wanted to express gratitude specifically before we continue,
sure,
if I may.
Yes, absolutely.
Gratitude to my friend, Manmeet. She's a wonderful human being, and I love her dearly. And
I'm just your mirror.
Yes. I would like to express gratitude to our mentor and teacher, Dr. John Demartini, and also warm love and gratitude to my mentor and teacher, my Buddhist mentor and teacher, Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, who I've practiced with for 20 years. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I think you kind of said the gratitudes there. I think there's so many people in our journey that, you know, have made an effect on where we are today. And I mean, I know if I was to sit here and name them, I think the whole time would be taken up by that. But, you know, there are a few people that I think it would be only right to mention, like you said, Dr. John Demartini, who plays a vital role in what we do in our day-to-day life. Not only managing and governing ourselves, but also helping other people through using his methodology. You know, there is Perry Sean, who we also met through, who really kind of pushes us through and makes us want to grow to that next level of having a lasting impact on people's lives. I'd like to also extend thank you to Helen Kemp, who has really helped me understand a lot more about how to really live this side of work and actually do it through business. And also my parents. I love that. You know, they've been a rock for me to, you know, not really impose the whole, you know, you should be a doctor or you should be a lawyer, and, you know, just really kind of supported myself and my brother as well in just following that. So, you know, I think I'd like to say to you guys at this point is, you're going to meet people who think you can't do what you want to really do. And at that time, it's you will decide whether their opinion of what you want to do outweighs your own inner calling of what you're here to do. And we all have an innate desire to want to make a difference. You just got to choose how you want to make a difference. You know, and I think it's really interesting that, I mean, you and I are not making more of a difference to people's life, you know, than somebody who is actually, you know, it was really interesting, actually. I had this conversation with somebody at the retreat I was just in Managua, and we were talking about, you know, people who have a lot of money and they tend to just spend it on these like lavish, you know, extravagant items. And we were having a conversation, and a couple of people were saying, you know, they've got they had a perception they've got more money than sense, you know. And I said, well, you know, if it wasn't for those people spending their money, who actually would be employed there? You know, that money that's been spent in that store that you think is kind of, you know, money that is just outrageous to be spending on something, is keeping people in a job. And it doesn't make them less spiritual than we are. You know, they're having a contribution to somebody else's life by, you know, yes, they're keeping them in their job, but what is a rollable effect of that? You know, Harinder said the other day in his video, he said, you know, you have a ripple effect when you throw a pebble into a pond or in water, it just generally, and that ripple effect of how you have something that happens, you know, transforming people, you know, the whole time. And I think that's what these lives are about, you know, these Facebook lives and Instagram lives, is that today we're live and we have no idea who's going to tune in, you know, who is going to make an effect on who's going to watch the recording afterwards. And I think that's what we really want to do, is just being able to share certain things with them to inspire them.
Yeah, about transformation, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if I can interrupt also, I just want to say this whole thing about looking at the outside world, like if we look at people who are have money and we judge them for spending their money. I heard this quote recently that said, envy is the art of counting somebody else's blessings instead of our own. So when we actually take time to count our own blessings and see how are we being graced by the universe with all that we have, then we don't have to spend our time looking at somebody else and what they have, because we are able to see all the gold that we have been given by the universe. And that's part of transformation, is being able to change our mind, to live our lives with a different perspective, but noticing that, like what I was saying earlier about the sphere of awareness, to be able to be aware when we get in a place where we paint ourselves into a corner, that we can actually recognize, whoa, the person who has painted me into a corner is me. I'm blaming the other person for making me angry. I'm blaming the other person for this or that and the other. But actually, my response to what is happening is what's painting me into the corner.
You know, life happens to us, but it's how we deal with it that makes a big difference. So with all of that in mind, I think, Antonio, what I would like to ask and share is, we've talked quite a lot about why we came to this work in terms of wanting to see balance in things. And you perfectly put the fact that sometimes, when you're doing negative thinking and you're going through something that you perceive to be negative, the last thing you want to hear is, well, what? Just think positive about that. You want to punch the person in the face when you hear that, right? So, what do you feel is the difference between just thinking positive about something or bringing something into balance? What do you feel is the difference?
Yeah, so the act of thinking something is positive is trying to manage what is already managed for us, number one. So for example, a magnet, we talk about a magnet having a positive and a negative side. Okay, it already comes that way. Okay, we don't have to worry about whether a magnet has more positive and more negative. It just has its amount of energy that it carries.
Yeah.
So when we start to engage in life, when we're having to manage what's already natural, we start to expend our energy all these ways, and we start to split ourselves. Interestingly enough, when we focus on the positive, we create more split within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So the antithesis of that is to be able to find both sides in every situation so that we can actually just accept the fact that we're in a magnet. We're living in a giant magnet. Everything has its positive and its negative. Like in Buddhism, we call, Thich Nhat Hanh says, you can't have the lotus without a mud. A lotus doesn't grow up in the air. It grows in the mud. It needs the mud to grow. So it's that balance, right?
Yeah.
So just to close, to be able to get to the place where we recognize that a situation is balanced and we don't need to change it is so amazing, because we reach a place of gratitude and love where then we can be grounded in our own place and be free without having to control anything or anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the difference there, is that the gratitude is getting to a space of not wanting something to be any different and seeing how it's perfect the way it absolutely is. And I think it's the magnet analogy is it's great, because that's how visually we can make that a concept. It's actually called the law of duality in our universal laws, and it's very much to go, well, what happens is, when we're actually, our intuition has this desire. It has the ability to see both sides. But what happens is, when we think something is either positive or something is either negative, is we're conscious of the upsides if we're infatuated with something, and we're unconscious of all the downsides. And if we're resenting something, we're conscious of the downsides and unconscious of the upsides. But if we ask ourselves quality questions, we can help ourselves see the other side very quickly. And the key thing here is that when you're seeing something to be positive, it's not to ask the question, what is the downside, so you make it a negative thing, because now you're just focusing on the other side of the negative of the magnet. And if you're seeing something to be negative and you're asking what is the upsides, what are the benefits, you're not looking to make something positive. It's just merely to bring it into balance, which is everything we're experiencing is neutral, and that it's neither negative or positive. It's just we label it based on what is important to us, right? So I mean, like, we have Henry here, who is obviously a beautiful dog who's so close to you. Now, if I came into your home and I was like, ew, what's that? Right? I'm going to be challenging your priorities, and you will basically be labeling me bad.
Out.
Yeah, I'll be on the next plane back home. But the way I've taken to him, and the way that he's obviously a very high priority for you, and being able to be in that space and support that space, you and I have connected a lot more with that, because we perceive that our priorities are being supported in that moment.
Yeah, we share that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think it's really necessary to explain to our viewers here, people that have joined us. Hi everyone. I know everyone's kind of waving. We've got A Joshi, we've got Sachin, Aaron, Jasmine, Ratili, Rishi saying hi, and then on Facebook we've got Nimi, Gurpreet, Miki, Jati, and Kaiti, and oh my god, we've got so many that I can't keep up with all the words there, all the people there.
Let me ask you a question about what you're saying.
Sure.
That's really interesting because when we are living our lives, why in the heck would we want to look at that? Why not just live life and just let people live and just live life? Why do we want to go through all that and be aware of all these things?
Well, I think it comes down to what you said earlier, is you want to govern yourself more than be governed by the universe, right? Which is, we're always getting feedback to help us bring us back into balance. Our intuition is actually always trying to guide us into the equilibrium. It's when we see something that's amazing, it's like when if I meet a guy or someone that's like amazing, and then my voice in my head goes, this is too good to be true. That's my intuition letting me know, Manmeet, you're not looking at the downsides to bring you into balance. And then sometimes when we're going through the real crap in our life, that intuition voice then starts to go, there's got to be something that comes out of this, that's got to be beneficial. And I think the more we don't look at that and we just leave it for things, you see, for example, if we get very excited about something, we're going to attract humbling circumstances to bring us back into balance. Does that make sense? So it's like that whole self-governance, self-leadership, which is I'm in control of me and I'm responsible for me, allows us to live more of an empowered life rather than, be overpowered on the outside. And, we have all these different feedback systems that help us bring us back into balance, which you and I know called the ecosystems. Do you want to touch on the ecosystems, and you can tell us how that works?
Well, I just want to say that I love this part of this conversation. I love the whole conversation, but especially this part, because to acknowledge the fact that the universe is already all set up to bring everything into balance is just so awesome. The fact that even if we choose not to self-govern or self-manage and transform ourselves, we just let it whatever happens, the universe will take measures to help us balance. So that's just the way that the universe is set up. So we're going to be taken care of. We're actually loved. The universe loves us so much that it wants us to be balanced.
Can you just answer that for me? So I know that some people would have this question, is you've just said the universe, loves us.
Yeah.
What do you think love is? Because I know that before I came across the work that we study, I used to think it was, you're only loved when people are supporting you. You're only loved when people like you. And you only love when you like someone, or you only love when you see all the good things. Like, what are you talking about when you said the universe loves us?
So if I can say about, thank you for this question, it's awesome. So I distinguish the difference between the sentiment of love and true love. The sentiment of love vacillates, and it comes and it goes. I mean, you can feel it sometimes. The person that you love the most, you're dating or you marry, and sometimes you just want to wring their neck, right? And so as love goes out the window, that's the sentiment of love. But true love is everlasting. It's something that is more equanimous and steady. So what exactly is it? Well, it's not really a feeling. It's a state of being. And there's different ways to get to true love. Talk about transformation. There's practices that we can engage in to get there.
Yes.
And again, because everything in the world is impermanent, nothing lasts forever. It's not like we can get to true love and just stay there permanently. We move out of that and then we bring ourselves back in. That's where the practices come in. So true love is, in a very short sentence, is the synthesis and synchronizing of complementary opposites. So just like you were saying, how when we live our lives, we are actually, if we become aware of the upsides and the downsides of every situation, then we don't have to change the situation. We can love it for how it is and be free and grateful for what we're learning in the situation. So that's true love, right? Or for example, when I meditate, and I meditate on a very difficult situation that I'm experiencing, days and days, and I'm just sitting there, breathing in and breathing out, asking quality questions in the meditation. I'm not just wanting peace, I'm actually asking quality questions so that I can reach an answer, an insight. And the insight is like that. Somehow it's a synthesis and synchronicity of these two sides, and you realize something that brings you to gratitude and love. And you no longer need to change the situation because, in fact, you don't even need to forgive the person, right? You've almost transcended forgiveness or that whole concept of forgiveness because you are in full acceptance and understanding of what's happening.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's true.
And I'll come back to the forgiveness thing because I think it'll be great for us to address that. But one of my students who came to my workshop, actually, the definition you gave there by John Demartini, the synthesis and synchronicity of complementary opposites, she came up with one which is brilliant. Savita Kalyampuri, she said, love is the grace and gratitude that you have for someone or something, for the challenges and support that they have blessed you with. And I just thought that couldn't be any easier, to get that. Actually, love is when you embrace both sides.
Yes, and you don't need to change your partner.
No, absolutely. You don't need to change anyone or anything, right? Because you just see that actually they're perfect the way they are. And it's not just for them, but you feel the true love for yourself. When a lot of people talk about self-love, like love yourself. When you love yourself, you have other people. But a lot of people talk about what to do, what you should be doing, but not the how you do it. So we want to, try and help you with that. And, Antonio touched upon this need of forgiveness. And, people kind of think you need to forgive other people and you need to forgive yourself. The only time you think you need to forgive somebody else, ladies and gents, is when you feel that they haven't served you. In your perception, you think they've done you more like damage or downsides or disservice and given you more drawbacks than actually the positives, benefits, and service. And now remember what we're looking at is we're not looking to say that what has happened to you as only going to be a positive thing. It's about actually bringing it in to see that when this person acted in a specific way to you, whatever they did, however they displayed it, it was equally a benefit and service as it was equally a drawback or disservice. Now, if you perceive it to be negative, you're already aware of the downsides and the disservices. We're just going to ask a very good quality question, that is, how is what they did to you or didn't do to you? How is it a benefit or service to you? And you keep answering that until you get to a space of, right, I see it. What they did, it served me at the time that it happened. I saw how it was, allowed me to do certain things I would not have been able to do if they hadn't have acted in a certain way. And in that moment, I have nothing but gratitude for them. Because when somebody served you, you don't feel like you need to forgive them, which is like, oh, I forgive you for serving me. It doesn't really sit right. It's like, thank you. That's all that's left is thank you. I love you for what you have served us with. Hi Yash, hi Sidra, hi Jali. They're all kind of waving at us, so just acknowledging people. Divya, so it's very much about bringing it into that space of gratitude. I think in that moment I have felt my transformation has been that I've been so connected to my Creator, and that I'm not attached to people who are religious, call it God, call it whatever, Allah, Vaiguru, or Christ, or in Buddhism or anything like that. But it's in that moment that you truly feel connected to your Creator and go, I see why this was needed, and I don't wish this to be any different. In my office, I have a magic wand, and when I'm working with clients, I bring it out and I say, I have a magic wand to change that person or change that very thing for you. Is there anything that you'd like to change? And actually, just by answering these questions, they get to a very certain no. I can see how it is, And I think there's a different level of, you spoke a little bit earlier about acceptance, but I think gratitude kind of transcends that.
Absolutely,
acceptance,
it does.
because
Absolutely.
it's acceptance. People kind of go, I accept that's happening, but I
Right.
still want to change it.
Yes.
In their mind.
Yes.
Whereas gratitude is, I just see it how it is. I see that it's serving me how it is, and I have no desire to want to change this. So yeah, I was answering the forgiveness side of things.
Yeah, thank you. And the transformation part in all this is that we're going to be transformed anyway, one way or another. But when we choose to do as you just said, to be able to see both sides and to be able to ask these quality questions, we're actually empowering ourselves. Folks they read books, they do all kinds of things to be able to find empowerment outside. And the empowerment comes from inside.
Absolutely.
The empowerment comes in the quality questions that you ask.
Yeah.
It's a quest, right? It's a quest that you set up with yourself to be able to take each situation with inquisitiveness.
Yeah.
So inquisitiveness is sort of like light, right?
Yeah.
There's a lightheartedness about it. When you have a question, you're not really like setting your stake on the ground saying, I'm right.
Absolutely.
You're wrong. When you live life asking questions, and especially situations that are challenging, then you're more lighthearted and open to learning. And as we learn, we grow. But if we're not open to learning, we won't grow, and then we'll be managed on the outside.
Yeah, and I think we never stop learning. It's
right.
So funny, because whenever sometimes I'm working with people in the workshop, they go, "Manmeet, you must have your shit together. Like you must not have emotions." And it's really interesting, because with everything that I share, it's not that we're always going to remain in this balanced state. If you kind of well, actually, there is a time we reach that. Right.
We're dead.
Yes. Absolutely. That straight line that shows up on the machine, that's when we've reached enlightenment, because that's where you reach a complete balance and you don't ever then oscillate. But in the life that we have, it's actually what gives us a physical form, because we're a photon chasing a neutron, and it's basically giving us that physical form, the negative chasing the positron. And in that moment, it's not about, you see, before I understood how to manage my emotions, I used to do really high highs and really low lows. Now it's about, I may see something and I think, oh, that's amazing. And then I go, now, how long do I want to stay in that one-sided perception that this is only amazing, or stay in a kind of position where it's just infatuation, or again, if I'm doing something where I'm like, this is really crap, I'm doing my own pity party and I'm inviting my friends around, to take part in my pity party. It's about how long do you want to stay there? So, because you always have the choice. If you choose to perceive you're in control, you'll always have the choice. So, sometimes it's difficult to, there are people that we have, friends and family that we kind of want to help. I got asked this question in an interview a while ago, which is, what's been the most difficult part of what you do? Actually, let me ask you that before I answer. What's been the most difficult part of what you do for people in your coaching and in your mentoring? What's been the most difficult part of your journey there?
I think the most difficult part is what's most difficult for me, which I constantly have to remind myself that the way that I see the world is as I am, not as it is. We see the world as we are, not as the world is. So coming into every situation, it's almost like a default that, this situation is this way and this is my reality, and then therefore I hold the the universe is as I say it is.
Yeah.
And so getting past that with the people that I work with, that I coach or that I mentor, to be able to get to that place where most everything we perceive through filters of confirmation bias, which means that we have a bias about life and we go around living just looking to confirm what we think or what we already know. You know, that's where the quality questions come in, because we are trying to expand our bias so that we are not so biased about things.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to just go around life confirming. I mean, why do we want to go around confirming what we already know? Don't we want to know more?
Know more, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I think that just getting
That's
past that first step is difficult. Just having people understand, or being willing to see life more than what they see is reality.
Yeah. So I think a roundabout way of me saying the same thing is that the most difficult thing in what I do on a day-to-day basis with people is wanting to help people who don't want to help themselves. And sometimes
why don't they want to help themselves?
Oh, well, they see more benefit in staying in the situation they're in. You know, you and I were having this conversation over dinner yesterday, which is, you know, the pain has got to be enough for people to want to make a change. But what's been difficult in my journey and in what I do is that those people that sometimes I feel, you know, they don't want to help themselves, or sometimes my own friends and family, you know, and that's been the most difficult thing, because you know you can make a change, you can help them, but you know it's their journey, and they've got to go through that journey just like I have, you know, just like you have, to even want to make that change. And I think that's really, really key. You know, when people make, I think when that decision is made, you know, okay, I'm going to now change my life, people make the decision. Not everybody knows how to do it. And these quality questions that we're talking about, you know, the quality questions that we've talked about, and just to remind you again, when you're high and you're thinking something's positive, to bring yourself into balance, you're going to ask, what are the downsides? What are the drawbacks of the very thing I'm thinking is amazing? Just so you can see there are equal downsides as there are upsides. And when you're perceiving something to be negative and something that is painful, you're going to ask, how is it a benefit? How is it a service, to bring yourself back into the middle to see how there's both sides? These quality questions are from the Demartini method. You know, and I think before the Demartini method and before meeting John Demartini, you know, I had heard about when you're in negative thinking, you ask, you know, you look at the positive. Right. But, you know, you try and tell somebody who's, you know, only gone through, has gone through something that they perceive to be traumatic, that, oh, this is only a positive event. It doesn't really work, no. You know?
I mean, it's a step.
Yeah.
Just like everything else, it's a step. It might be a first step that you can take.
Yeah.
But it's not going to last. It's not going to get you to...
No. And I don't know about you, but I find like you trying to tell a client that, they're going to resist. Because, as you said, we all want to be right, right? But if you acknowledge the fact that, look, what you're saying is, we acknowledge that there were downsides, there were drawbacks, there was pain in what you were going through, but there was equal pleasure, benefits, and upsides to what you were experiencing too.
It's like anybody who's gardened, if you've gardened before and you go out and pull weeds, if you pull a weed, not from the roots, the weed's going to come back.
Yeah.
So positive thinking is like that. It's like you pull the weed so you can't see the top of it, but the roots are still there and it grows back.
Yeah.
When you actually transform at the base through these insights of meditation, the Demartini method, asking quality questions, when you actually go in there and uproot the thing at the source, you're done. Doesn't mean you're not going to get any more weeds in your garden.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other weeds are going to grow.
Other weeds,
that particular weed, not going to come back.
Yeah.
That's right.
Great. What else should we cover?
Well, I wanted to say something about meditation, if I may.
Sure.
Because it's worked really well for me to be able to have these practices, to ask the quality questions as I go through life and so forth, but then also build a meditation practice where I'm cultivating the ability to sit and be aware, right? So there's been studies, research has been done about what happens in the brain when you spend time in meditation.
Absolutely.
And just to clarify, we're not talking about meditation as in like taking 5, 6, 15, 20 minutes out of your day to carve out peace. Because then it's the same thing. We're chasing after peace.
One-sided, yeah.
One-sided, you know, like chasing after positive thinking. Meditation is a time to be aware and to increase our awareness to the point where we're actually asking quality questions in our meditation to be able to receive those insights that we would have not otherwise arrived at just through analysis. So what I tell folks and my clients and people that I work with and I mentor who are starting meditation is to first build a habit and then worry about the technique. And the habit is very simple to build. Just spend 5 minutes every day. Just pick the same time in the same place. It can be on your couch, on a cushion. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. And just 5 minutes every day, just sit on your couch in the morning or in the evening, breathing and breathing in and breathing out, just being aware of your breathing. And that's it. 5 minutes for 21 days, at least 30 days. Don't increase more than 5 minutes. Just do 5 minutes every day. And just build a habit, and then start increasing the time, and maybe you're learning more other meditation techniques. We're going to do a body scan in a little bit. That's one method where we can get in touch with our bodies and appreciate our bodies. Yeah, so part of the thing about meditation is when we meditate, our prefrontal cortex, the front of our brain, there's the left side and the right side. And when we experience a lot of challenges, and we don't do anything about it to govern our challenges and find both sides, the right side, the pain side, starts to get bigger. And so we start to look for and see more negative things, right? But when we meditate, actually, believe it or not, the left side actually gets stronger. And so when we face situations, we're more likely to take a step back and be able to think, oh, this is an opportunity for me to ask a quality question. If I'm used to reacting to situations, then I'm not going to give myself any space in there, any buffer to be able to think. I have an opportunity here to ask a quality question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So meditation gives you that ability. Somehow, somewhere in your mind, you are starting to perceive that you have more space and time to have these choices to govern yourself while you're going through a situation. So that's the benefit of practicing meditation in conjunction to, for example, the Demartini method, is to be able to have that brain plasticity, that restructuring of the brain at a higher level.
You're saying with meditation, the left side of the brain's slightly more activated?
The right side is more, the right side of the front of the brain is more actively perceiving negative things. And when we meditate, we're able to balance that out.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, what about people who, because I have this, asked of me sometimes, and is, what about the people that try to meditate and our thoughts kind of, they just wander and they can't seem to stay present?
That's a great question.
How do you get, because sometimes people give up. I know I've been there, I've got, oh, well, my thoughts are wandering. I'm clearly not meditating. Right? So what would you say to myself and other people out there who think the same?
It's a great question because it addresses how our propensity is to want to control, right? So we were talking earlier about how in a difficult situation, we want to go in there and control the person. We want to change the person. We want to get out of it. We want to escape. We want to do all these things. So in meditation, the same thing. We have these thoughts, and what do we want to do? We want to wield them and,
control them.
So
get out of my head.
So thinking is a sign of a healthy brain.
I like that.
Yeah. Why would we want to control our brain? It's thinking. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So the thing is to gently notice when our attention has left our object of concentration. Like, let's say we were doing a body scan and we were looking at our body and saying, I'm noticing my heart. I love my heart. It serves me in this way. And all of a sudden, then I start thinking about grocery shopping. Okay, and I'm off to the races.
Yeah.
So the moment that I become aware, whoa, I'm no longer aware of my heart. All of a sudden now I'm thinking of the groceries. That's not a chance to punish ourselves. That's an opportunity to appreciate the awakening that has happened in that moment, right? I woke up. Yes. So in that moment that I woke up, that's a moment of appreciation and noticing that it's an opportunity to come back to my breathing and to appreciate my heart.
Awesome.
And so it's sort of like a leveled approach, right? Instead of that whole thing of trying to control, and when it doesn't work out, then we get mad, and then that escalates too, because if we're trying to control our brain during meditation, what happens? Our anxiety builds. What kind of meditation is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Right? I agree. Yeah. Well, you talked a lot about, you know, appreciation, and I'm wary of with us now wanting to go towards the meditation. But just before we go to that, I think it'd be really nice to leave. You've talked so much about the appreciation and gratitude, and I just want to leave you guys with one thing that I would really encourage you to do from watching this live is you may be doing certain ways of gratitudes. I would encourage you to have a gratitude journal where you basically, you know, I do mine at night, and I have mine by my bedside table, and it's actually called Inspired Life Journal. You know, it's actually written by Helen Kemp and her partner David Nolan, and I really liked it because what it does is it takes you through the day. So like from the moment, you know, before I used to think gratitude journals are just a chore for me, because I used to sit there going, oh my God, am I going to have to be grateful about everything right now in life, you know? And what this really does is it helped me to take my day and do daily gratitude. So from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep, what was I grateful for that happened to me? You know, I like to think of gratitude like the universe has given you gifts during the day. And if you're not going to be grateful for the gifts that you've got, is the universe really going to give you any more? You know, and it's like if you take that into a concept of humans and us gifting each other things, like if I gave you a gift, you know, and you didn't even thank me for that gift, am I likely to give you another one again? Right? So the universe works in the same way. And gratitude's like, you know, it's like these kind of drops into a bucket. There's a moment that you know, you keep putting all the gratitudes into there, and there'll be a moment that your heart just overflows, just as the bucket would overflow, with just being grateful for that actual day, you know. And
what if I can't think of anything? What if I get a start and I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, thank you for my bed. And
I want you to think of not just general things like that. Just like you woke up this morning, what did you do? You know, I woke up. I'm grateful I took Henry for a walk. I'm grateful I was able to walk. You know, in my gratitude journals, like I've even thanked, you know, my Uber drivers, right, for actually getting me somewhere safely. Because if they were a lunatic kind of driver, you know, I would, you know, be in a position where I could potentially be having an accident and my life be ending, etc. So I'm really grateful for that. I mean, you know, I'm flying tonight back to London, and I'm always grateful to my pilot, you know, for getting me back to another country or anywhere safely. And that's what it is. It's not necessarily that you've got to think of all these huge things. It's the little things that we can just be grateful for that allows us to, you know, gratitude is the quickest way of getting ourselves out of a pity party. The moment we're thinking our life is crap.
Sorry, can you say that again, please?
Pity party.
No, gratitude is
the fastest way of getting ourselves out of a pity party.
I mean, seriously,
yeah,
right?
It really is, because the moment you're thinking, you know, life is crap, life is shit, and it's just not happening for you, if we just take that moment to go, what's going right for us? What is it that we're really grateful for us that we think can actually be thankful for? You know, and I know that, you know, just being here with you, and, you know, this is my second time here with you, I'm so grateful for the space I spend with you when I come, and, you know, us being connected in this way. And I think that in itself, you just go, what's going on today? Who am I grateful for today? And then, you know, that just, as I said, just really helps us bring us out into that mindset of, and again, guys, don't just be grateful for things that are, you know, amazing happening for yourself either, right? Because we kind of go, oh, well, it's that kind of form of prayer. If things are happening my way, then I'm grateful, and if they're not, I'm not grateful. So it's about appreciating your life for the way it is, because it's absolutely perfect. Like when you really see that divine perfection that's going on in your life, ladies and gents, like myself and like Antonio, who've been through that thought process of wanting to end our life and wanting to commit suicide and, you know, not be here anymore. That's why many years on, we're here.
That's right. And also, there's been times when I'm doing my gratitude journal, and even though I'm not seeing both sides of a situation, I'll write, thank you for this challenging situation. I'm so grateful for this challenging situation. And just that already starts to open up a little sliver in my willingness to see something new in that.
Yeah, absolutely. The moment you say, oh, I can't see the other side to this, you've just shut your intuition down. It's not going to look for any answers. But again, the moment you just ask those quality questions, just sit with it. Let your intuition bring forth the answers. Because when you and I coach, right, I mean, this is what I love about what we do, is we co-create shifts for people. We're not 100% responsible for them.
No.
You know, we come with the right questions, and by God, I tell my clients sometimes, I don't know what question I'm going to ask you today, you know, but we come prepared a little bit with those kind of questions because we've worked on it ourselves so much. And it's when we ask those questions, you are then able to bring out the answers that your intuition is guiding you to, if you allow it to. Awesome. Should we get you to take us through a meditation now for these lovely people?
Let's do that. A few minutes of meditation, 10 minutes or so.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us as well. We've got Brian there. We've got Jasmine, Nima, Sohei, Satpal. On Insta, we've got Anshu, Al. Gosh, there's loads of people. Shani, Akanksha. Oh, New Zealand we have. We've got loads of people joining us from all over the world. So it's really, really cool because that is what this live was about, that we want. It's a World Transformation Day. That is why we're doing this live. I know sometimes, have you ever done a live before?
This is the first.
So this is, we've got him out of his comfort zone, okay? And I've never done an Insta live, so I've done a Facebook live, I think, before. So, you know, this is what it's about. And I just want to, just before you take us through to the meditation, Antonio, is extend my gratitude to the whole team at World Transformation Day, that, you know, they've got over 100 events happening. You know, I'm in the WhatsApp group, and even though we're in time difference, I've seen so many amazing projects happen. People have, you know, come out of their own comfort zone to do things they were scared of, their own fears. Like there was a lady who held a spider in her hand, who's, you know, like had a fear of spiders. We've had people going out there feeding the homeless. You know, you've had people doing challenges where the walks, you know, like basically long kilometer walks. And you know, I think that's been really inspiring to see that when we kind of push ourselves to something we really want, I think that's where that saying, you know, when the why is big enough, the hows take care of itself. You've got a big enough why to want to transform your life, you will bring in the right people to help you transform.
Right.
And I brought in Antonio.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yep. I'm ready for some meditation, Antonio.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
So I wanted to preface the meditation a little bit by saying that if you're already an experienced meditator, or whether you're a beginner, these kinds of basic exercises and meditations are key to be able to just get in touch with our bodies. Is such a beautiful thing. We go about our daily lives just asking our bodies to do this and do that, and hardly ever taking the time to step back and be grateful for our bodies. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to take a little bit of time to be grateful for our bodies. And what happened? Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Technical movements. So to take a little time to be grateful for our bodies. So let's do that. So let's find our comfortable position, however it is that we're seated. Just let's make sure that we have our feet planted on the ground, so we have full connection to our Mother Earth, and just feel comfortable. You know, the point of meditation is not to be uncomfortable and to be in pain and suffer. The point of meditation is to find a way to cultivate awareness and have our body be comfortable. So if you're in pain right now, adjust it so that you're not in pain, and then sit back. And I recommend initially to close our eyes. That increases our ability to concentrate. So close your eyes for a moment and just begin to be in touch with your breathing in and out. And notice how your belly is expanding and contracting as you're breathing. Breathing in and breathing out, just being in touch with that sensation of the earth supplying the air that goes into the nostrils, down the trachea, into the lungs. Our lungs expanding to receive that precious air, and then contracting to release the carbon dioxide. So as we are in touch with that breathing and the air and that rhythm that our body naturally is in already, there's nothing that we have to do to be in that rhythm. It already exists, and we can actually get in touch with that rhythm anytime, anywhere during the day, to be in touch with that rhythm that we have in relationship with the earth. So also relaxing our shoulders, relaxing our body. We might even relax our eyelids and the muscles on our face, is to really feel ourselves be upright and stable, but relaxed and at ease. So we begin with our first object of concentration, and we use our breath all the while in and out, staying in that rhythm, like riding that rhythm as a vehicle to increase our awareness and concentration. So we begin by observing our eyes. We have our eyes closed, but with our mind's eye, we're able to observe and concentrate on our eyes. We can say to ourselves, breathing in, I am aware of my eyes. Breathing out, I am so grateful for my eyes. So with the in-breath, we become aware of our eyes, and with our out-breath, we send gratitude to our eyes. And in the back of our mind, we might even think, thank you, eyes, for helping me to see the world, to see color, to see my lovely friends and family, so that we can really extend true gratitude to our eyes. And after a few breaths, we can then move on to our next object of concentration. We can say, breathing in, I am aware of the hair on my head. Breathing out, I am so grateful for the hair on my head. In, aware of my hair. Out, sending gratitude to my hair. And if we don't have any hair, we can be aware of the skin on our head. Anything to every single part of our body welcomes our gratitude because it serves a purpose. Breathing in, I am aware of my lungs. Breathing out, I send my gratitude to my lungs. In, aware of my lungs. Out, sending gratitude. Breathing in, I am aware of my heart. Breathing out, I send love and gratitude to my heart. In, aware of my heart. out, sending gratitude. And dear friends, we could open our eyes just to come back to the present awareness with our eyes open. And what we just did is an exercise that we can continue to do for another 20, 30 minutes, you know, because there's so many parts of the body that we could actually send our love and gratitude to. And by the time we would be finished, maybe already you're feeling a certain sense of lightness just having done that little bit.
Definitely, yeah, I did.
Yeah,
for sure.
Imagine 20 minutes of that. But again, if you're not an experienced meditator, I recommend just 5 minutes every day.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Thank you, Antonio. Antonio's voice is so soothing, isn't it? It's just like you can take through the meditation. I think we should do some more lives like this, you know, and take people through some meditation. It'd be great. Thank you. Awesome. All right, well, that brings us to the end of our World Transformation Day live, and thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your support, you know, being here with us, and just wanted to leave you with a couple of things that, you know, you might think, well, there's still time. How can I get involved in World Transformation Day? Well, I mean, you know, here in the US, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You've got till 8 o'clock tomorrow evening UK time to get involved by doing something to inspire those around you. And how can you do that? You can either just do an inspirational post that's through text. You can either do a live like this, you know, on either one of your social media platforms, or like I've done on both. You can do a project for the community, any other way that you feel you can. Just something little today that you feel can make a difference in somebody else's life. I mean, we wanted to just share our story, and we wanted to just share some tools and some questions with you that can help. You know, we have no idea who that is going to take that and run with that, you know. And that's how you can get involved with World Transformation Day. Once again, congratulations to the whole World Transformation Day team. We'll definitely be getting involved every year, no matter where we are in the country or in the world even. And you know, I think it's just a great cause, you know, just to get involved in doing something, and on a global scale. You know, I definitely of today felt the energy, you know, lift and shift. Just knowing so many people in over, like, I don't know, 30 countries are doing something, and feeling that love through the whole world has been really inspiring. And just you know, Antonio and I are part of a mastermind group that I just want to give a quick shout out to a good few friends of ours who are really in our journey at this moment, who we very, very value, you know, a lot. And that's Dana, Curtis, Jonathan, and Liz. And we look forward to seeing you in about an hour's time with, obviously, our mentor, Perry. Yes. If there's any questions you guys have got, Antonio, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, to work with you, how can they do that?
You can reach me via Facebook. Just friend me or PM me. You can also go to www.antoniobrunner.com. That's Antonio, as it sounds. BRUNNER.com. Or you can email me, Brunner Antonio, the number 7 @gmail.com.
Awesome. And for those of you who joined me, obviously, you know how you can contact me. You know, make sure you like our page, Optimum Performance Solutions. I will be doing, I think, a lot more lives moving forward, some videos, and, you know, follow me on Instagram. And yeah, and if you want to catch me next week on Sunday, I am doing a talk at something called the Fashion Brunch, which is an amazing event that Anisha is putting on through a company called Anisha Creators and Sejal. And what they're doing is they're doing like this whole, like, there's going to be Prosecco there's going to be fashion, there's going to be catwalks, and
high end.
Yes, all high end stuff. But the money of the tickets go to Brunner, which is a great charity, you know, for people to be involved in. So bring down your friends, your family, you know, have a great, it's a tribute to all the inspirational women out there. You know, my mom is definitely going to be there. She's one of the most inspiring women I know. And come along and join in. And I will also post the link on how you can get some tickets to that too. All right. We love you and leave you. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care. Bye.
Enjoy transformation.